It's not about where God has brought you through. Look at all those miracles God performed for the Israelite nation. Yet all of a sudden, there was a little delay, and they turned that delay into denial, where everything had to center around the almighty dollar. Same problem today. Money problems are not about scarcity. It's about belief. Money problems are not about scarcity. It's about belief. Recently, some of you know that I was blessed to be able to be in the ordination service. One of our sister churches now has a $2.5 million expansion project. $2.5 million. And what they did was they sent for a pastor, a UCC pastor in California, to come to speak to their finance committee and to come to speak to the leaders of their church. So they sent for this pastor who came over there, and they had sent them a series of questions about how did you raise the money? What steps did you do to raise the money? What kind of messages did you do? All these specific things that they wanted to have answers to. Because $2.5 million in times like this, you must be crazy. So what happened was this pastor from California came, and the minister told me that he came and talked to him. He said, it was just wonderful. Because he took all the questions that they would send, he took them like they took a match out and burned them. And said, you know how we raised the money for our center? We prayed and we believed. Pray and believe. Not let us identify 20 people who will give $10,000. Let us identify 5 people who will give $1,000. Let's come up with a financial plan to make this happen. No, he got up there and said the secret to this was to pray and believe. Pray and believe. What do you want to pray about? What do you want to believe? It's not about money. It's about your prayer time. It's about what you believe. That is what will make a difference in your life. We have a chance to live in abundance through our prayers and our belief. Turn to your neighbor and say, I would rather have belief than billions. You fibbed, you know you fibbed, God Almighty. One of the things that we just experienced, and because with not going through a long explanation, you know that there's so much illness that's going on in this world. It's not just our family. So many other families are experiencing so many problems with illness. And one of the things that I had to go to the Cleveland Clinic about 2 weeks ago. And one of the things is that I ran across somebody who I knew, and they talked about this whole thing about, you know something? If I was the Shaw of somebody, I would get a whole lot better care. Because when you go to the clinic, you know, the Shaws and everybody else, they get better care. And then one of my friends, who some of you met, my best friend, is a nurse at the Cleveland Clinic. And he told me, he said, Phil, they do get better care, but they don't get better physicians. It's the same physicians that operate on the person with $1 million. At the same physician, someone comes in there indigent. What happens is that they happen to have this nurse care afterwards. And that's what they're paying for. So we get caught up in this whole thing that says in a nutshell, the more money we have, the better surgeons we'll have, the better care we'll have. That's what this world would have you believe. They would have you believe that this thing about McDonald's, you deserve the best today. Or this thing about Burger King, have it your way. Or maybe this whole thing be something that turns this thing around that says, there's a God that will make sure that your tide will turn into betterness and your cheer will be from your heart and your joy will be every day. Which God do you serve? Well, personally, I'd rather be the Shah of Iran sitting up there in the clinic and have all these people wait on me. Wouldn't you? But you know, when it's your life on the line, when your life is on the line, it has nothing to do with money. It has everything to do with prayer and belief. Very simply, just look around this church and see what God has done. Look at the healings we have experienced. It has not been about who had more money or who had less. It's all about your faith walk, the power that you have. And this was the message. For when Moses came back down, he came down with what? 10 commandments. And what was the first thing he did? He threw them down, broke them, because the people were not what? Ready to receive, because they were worshiping tiny gods. So who you want to worship? Who is your God? You remember that song about, what is it? You can't hurry love. I don't care how much money you have. You can't buy forgiveness. I don't care how much money you have. You cannot buy unconditional love. I don't care how much money you have. You cannot have peace that surpasses all understanding. And I don't care how much money you have. You cannot hurry God's love. So tiny gods are everywhere. And it's time that we follow the Christ. For tiny gods tell us that Coke is the real thing. And God tells us, yes, my God is real. God can and God will be able to make a difference in your life. An orange crush has nothing on God crushing your enemies. So I want you today to do one thing and one thing only. Choose this day whom ye shall serve. Choose this day whom ye shall serve. Do you want to serve